All right, so this part is brought to you by Metal Gear Informer. This is where we get all our news from. This past week, the DICE Summit happened. It was, I think, Wednesday through Friday. And Kojima Del Toro and Hideo Kojima made an appearance there. They had a panel with Jeff Keighley this past week. If you could tell us a little bit about what happened there with the first news.
Well, it is my honor. It is our privilege to announce that Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain wins Adventure Game of the Year.
Nice.
The DICE Award.
Let's get it.
If you saw the acceptance, it was a little funny. But they did throw a little shade at Konami.
What did they say?
Well, when they announced the award,
Was this during the awards or?
Yes, during the award.
Okay.
When they announced who won, when they announced Metal Gear 1, I don't know who the woman's name is or the guy's name is.
Okay.
It didn't pay that much attention, but the woman said, "We're sorry to announce that Konami could not be here to accept the award."
Oh my goodness.
And we know this was shade thrown from when
at the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, when Keith Sullivan accepted the award in place
of
Hideo Kojima. And he says, I'm sorry, Hideo Kojima could not be here. But we know that Konami had forbidden him by
it was a
consequence
class
of law.
Right, yeah.
We don't know what kind of consequence it would have been or whatever the case may, or what was holding him back from it.
Yeah, we still don't know.
But we know that during this DICE Award, and you're going to talk about it, he did receive recognition for his work. So we are proud to say, whatever you may feel for Metal Gear Solid 5, some of you might not like it. Some of you think that it was kind of wish-wash or that it was lacking.
It won.
But yeah, this even it's like you're in a race, like you're in a dash race, and you got a broken leg, and you still win.
That's right.
So
and my thing is that in such an honor like this, where Hideo Kojima's, this is his first time that he gets to accept this award for the game that he just made. It's a beautiful thing when you see something created and you worked hard on it, and as a creator, you're just like, wow, this is it right here, and we win. So it was good to see him on stage. He was smiling a lot. He was I saw. He was
very happy to be there.
Very, very happy.
He was very happy to be
especially
there.
amongst friends and like people that have been close to him. It's good to see that. So no matter, like, let's say, no matter what, that if they could say whatever they want about Metal Gear Solid 5 or whatever, but let's go a little deeper than that. Let's go into Hideo Kojima's life. His life that he's lived. He's been making games for over 30 years. 30 years,
yeah.
So like this is an honor for him. And let's go beyond just like the game. Like this is something where he has the right to be up there.
He's finally reaping what he sowed.
Right, exactly.
He finally, it's like he worked hard to make these games.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been through his trials. He's been, I won't get into that now since we're talking about this specifically about his acceptance speech. But we know from his acceptance speech and what people have said from him, he has made such an impact. They call him genius when it comes to gaming and it comes to storytelling. As if you've played Metal Gear, you would know that he has made other games like Police Knots, etc., Zone of the Enders. But Metal Gear is what he is known for, and it's complex stories. So they finally recognized him, and his product. Maybe it wasn't the game itself, but just the legacy behind it.
Absolutely, yeah. You hit it right on the head. Yeah,
we're glad that Metal Gear won, not only as fans of Metal Gear, but as supporters of Kojima and what he wants to do.
Right, absolutely.
In other news, we go to now Kojima news.
Yeah, so like I said, they just hosted the summit, and in that came him collaborating and talking about VR and Kojima Del Toro and all that. So it's pretty cool, seeing them together, because if you didn't know, Guillermo del Toro and Kojima, they were going to make the next iteration for Silent Hills, which was PT. They let out a playable teaser last year where people got to play it. It was extremely cool. Anyway, it got a huge reception, right? And people were just like fascinated by it. There's been a lot of games like Allison Road, who is inspired by PT, that just came out on Kickstarter. Games like that that has been inspired by them by this. So seeing them together was really cool. So on February 18th, Hideo Kojima attended the DICE Summit in Las Vegas to have a public conversation with filmmaker Guillermo del Toro. And Jeff Keighley talked about his inspiration and future ambitions on this occasion. Several outlets conducted interviews with Kojima as well. So here he talks about on the new studio. So his new studio, which is Kojima Productions.
Very subtle.
Yes. Currently, Kojima is building his new independent studio, Kojima Productions. Quote, in theory, ideally, you put together some staff, you look for facilities, and then you start working on a project. Planning and testing, but I'm doing all of this in parallel, in parallel to his old studio, right? So for this new studio, I definitely want to keep the size of the team somewhat limited. He also says, quote, there was a time where I had a team that was growing over 200 people. And that, at that point, this mythology proved to be difficult. It was impossible to be together and polish everything for this new studio. I definitely want to keep the size of the team somewhat limited. When I first entered this industry, the teams were pretty much like 5 people. I felt like an indie game. Everybody had to do a little bit of everything, and nowadays, where anyone has their defined role, it's not like that. It feels like a factory. End quote. So then he goes on to say on his next project, right? He says, quote, I feel extremely free right now. I'm trying to make a very, very edgy game with an extremely small team. For my first project, I'm working with Sony, so I have to do something for them. But I'm doing exactly what I want to do. End quote. This is astonishing to me in a way where it's like, I think he feels like he finally feels free. You know, like if it was like something where he didn't feel as free, I guess, with Konami and to do what he wanted to do, which I'm going to get to then, you know, because there's rumors about him talking about like that he over budgets and whatever. So you
had to pay all those people.
Well, of course, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
They put in countless hours.
Yep.
And I guess that's what he was getting at. It was just like, it was crazy.
Yeah. So he also goes into saying, like I did in the past, quote, like I did in the past, I want to make something that has a very strong dramatic story, end quote. He goes on a little bit more saying his partnership with Sony. He goes, quote, Sony is supporting us to make a big game that's edgy with a strong story and gives the player a lot of freedom with new elements, end quote. So that could mean another open world game, you know, is a lot of freedom. That's pretty cool. He also says, if the first project fails, we won't have any future to speak of. So we are very focused on that. It's a big scale game. So we're ready. So we're being very careful. So I guess he's very meticulous in what he's going to do with his next project. I think he wants it to be over the budget, big, huge game, open world. I think that's where he's definitely going to go. What do you think?
I'm confident that whatever he decides to do, that it will be good. Only because Kojima he's very unorthodox.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of his gaming, and I mean, we've seen great games. Mm-hmm. We've seen great games. I personally like Uncharted. I like games of adventure and first person shooting. I've even enjoyed certain Call of Duties.
Yeah.
Epic storylines, especially the Modern Warfare arc with Soap and Captain Price. I've enjoyed those games, but when it comes to Metal Gear, it's just there's a certain type of lore. It's crazy and it's just amazing, and it just keeps you addicted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if Kojima's work looks anything like that, I think whatever he pulls out is going to be great.
Yeah,
because I know he's going to work on it like he did Metal Gear. By that I mean the effort
and
strength.
and now that he has Sony to back him up, and his team, I think he has a larger scale where he can reach. I'm obviously just a PlayStation fans and stuff, but I think this was set up for new encounters with, I'm hoping Microsoft and other ventures. He did say he's gonna come out on PC as well, so definitely working with that partnership is important to him, obviously. So here he says on Sony, Sony was very respectful towards me and what I do. So it seems like he was very clear from the start with Sony, like, hey, this is what I want to do, and I respect if you actually you do that and stuff. So obviously they're letting him do whatever he wants. Sorry about that. Our battery died for the camera.
It happens.
Like I was saying before, his partnership with Sony has to be very important for them to actually go ahead and go forth with this with Kojima. So in collaborations with like future collaborators, or obviously with Kojima Del Toro, he speaks a little bit about it. So here he says, quote, both of them are great people. They're interesting people. I'm good friends with both of them. He's talking about Norman Reedus and Kojima Del Toro.
Yeah.
I'd love to work with them in the future, but I have no idea what that will be. However, speaking to GameSpot, Kojima said his first project will probably not be a collaboration, but something that really carries his identity. So obviously something along the lines of maybe stealth action or I mean, we don't know yet. But
I really think that Sony sees this as a great investment.
Absolutely. I think that they're just going in all hands on deck.
They're saying whatever you do is going to be great. We have faith in you. Do it. Do it, and we're backing you. And I think that's what Hideo wanted. Maybe everyone at Konami didn't do that. Who knows? I'm only speculating at this point in time.
For sure.
But yeah, I think now that Kojima is able to work with who he wants, able to budget what he wants, able to say what he wants in his game, it's his game now. I think it'll just be great.
So he goes on a little bit about VR. So he goes, quote, shooters are always fun, but I'm more interested, for example, in bringing out feelings in people that are unique to VR. Kojima told IGN, quote, some feelings are maybe displeasure, maybe horror, but not the kind of horror you get from grotesque or gory things, but a kind of different horror. So end quote. So that's something pretty cool. He's interested in VR. Maybe something obviously along the lines of PT. And
it's funny. He's been doing VR missions,
right? Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid, true. But now he's actually able to do VR.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
real. Man, I really hope Konami does something like that with the Metal Gear franchise. Yeah. Like, can you imagine a VR training missions? Like, that would be amazing. A legit one.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be so awesome. You're just like running around doing the choking and shooting first person view or something like that.
That'd be cool. It'll be a fun way to kind of get VR like on the platform. I don't think it has any like good IP, like a strong intellectual property that can just be like, man, I'm getting VR for that. That could be one. Like Metal Gear VR. Like how else can you put it? I mean, yeah, that's pretty straightforward to me. Yeah. So he goes on and talking about Metal Gear. So they ask him about Metal Gear.
Gotta ask the hard questions,
of course. In an interview with GameSpot, Kojima was asked that the biggest misconception about him said, quote, a lot of people say that I spend too much money or take too much time, but that's a misconception. He said, my last project was late about 5 or 6 months, but I've always kept my word on timelines and budget. For example, I do take 3 to 4 years to make games, but that's the plan from the start. Now I'm making something new. I'm making a new game. So, end quote. Hey, so maybe people were wrong about, because I was definitely a believer of like he just over budgeted and all that. So he said that that's not true. It's a misconception.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of stories in the air.
Yeah.
We want the truth.
Yeah.
So I mean,
do you think we'll ever get the truth?
I believe everything comes to light.
Yeah.
I think if someone looks for it, they'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can find it.
Yeah.
But what I think will happen is that this will eventually die down.
Yeah.
Especially when Kojima comes out with his new game in like 2032 or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're just gonna see.
Well, hey, maybe we could get this timeline. He said
all right,
3 to 4 years. Maybe in 3 to 4 years we'll get this game.
Yeah, okay. And how many times did we see Metal Gear was coming out this year and then it pushed back?
Yeah, I know.
3 to 4 years for Kojima is like 8. I think Kojima is like, he's like, we can say this because we're Hispanic. This isn't racist. But Hispanics are usually late.
Yeah.
I'm
say
guilty of that.
You're very guilty of that. Am I right, Elvis?
I just wanted to... Elvis, stop it. We'll put you back on the show. The only reason I said it was because I knew one of you would do it.
Of course.
And I just wanted to do it
so you want to say it first. Yeah.
I did it. I said it about myself. But no one's going to say, stop being so mean about yourself.
Right, exactly. No one's going to say that.
Only to you.
But going on, they asked him about his beard. So
his beard.
So
I heard beer. That's why I was like, what?
No,
what?
his beard.
His beard. No
so
alcohol.
He said, "quote I'm not used to it, so I think I think about shaving it every day. I'm becoming an independent and creating my own studio. I wanted to change something about my look. I've received a lot of positive comments from people outside Japan about my beard, but inside Japan, beards have a bad image. People don't think you look old, you look tired. My kids definitely don't like it. Let's hope Kojima won't succumb to the pressure and keep his defined new look." So I actually like it. I think it's pretty cool.
I think he looks like a rebel.
It's funny. We have beards, so it's cool.
I remember you asked me something, and I wasn't even too sure. You asked if Kojima was married.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And now we find out he has
kids. His personal life is like
it's under a cardboard box. Thank you, Steven. But sorry, terrible pun. But yeah, I guess he's married.
Yeah, married with kids.
Is he married? I know we know he has kids.
Married.
But he's married. He's married.
Married.
Okay.
Married man.
So Kojima is a taken man with a cause and a rebel.
Yeah. So something exciting that came out of this after the panel. Hideo Kojima receives Hall of Fame award at the 19th annual DICE Awards.
Congratulations, Kojima.
During the DICE 19th annual awards in Las Vegas, Kojima has received a Hall of Fame award for his work in the industry. Kojima Del Toro took the stage to present the award. Quote, "The most salient aspects of Kojima-san are his absolute passion for perfection and his narrative ambition and scope." Del Toro said in a speech in a pre-recorded video, Kojima's impressive career has summarized and commented by Mark Cerny and J.J. Abrams. After the video, Del Toro invited Kojima himself to the stage to accept the award. Afterwards, Kojima held a short speech while receiving a standing ovation. He said, quote, "When I was a kid, there was no such profession as game designer. As a kid, my dreams were becoming an astronaut, becoming a safari ranger, becoming an inspector of the LAPD, or becoming a movie director. At some point, I had to give up on all of those dreams. But then, 30 years ago, I met video games. Ever since I've been making video games, and since then, I believe this is my true calling. There's no such thing so fun as making video games. Thanks to games, I've been able to meet all of you, and also been able to receive this award. And also, games make true your travel dreams. Whenever you turn on a game, you can go to space. You can go protect wildlife. You can go investigate cases. And today, I was able to receive an award from a movie director that I love and respect. Thank you so much. From now on, I hope I can keep making games and dreaming of new dreams while making games. Thank you so much." End quote. Here you see the trophy. It looks pretty awesome. It's like a sphere triangle looking thing.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome looking.
Yeah. What do you think about that, man?
I think he received it very humbly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He did. When I saw Hideo I've never seen like Hideo Kojima outside of a interview kind of like a formal interview.
Right.
I think this is the first time I've seen him accept an award. I'm sure he's accepted before.
Yeah.
But I was never really into the media and stuff like that. I thought he accepted it gracefully.
Yeah, he did. It was very cool. It's very humbling.
Yeah, very calm, very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've always dreamed of doing. I've never. This was not what I saw myself doing.
Yeah.
But
In the
because
special
of it,
edition of Metal Gear Solid 4, he does speak about becoming a cop and all of that and stuff.
Yeah.
He has spoken about that before.
An inspector, and and that, exactly what he just said. Through games, you can do those things.
You can do that.
And so I guess I see that he's painting what he would have wanted to do.
Yeah.
In his game. So maybe he views himself. He wanted to view himself as Big Boss, or view himself as Snake, as a hero, as someone who was a legend, who didn't want to take credit.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Solid Snake or Big Boss, they never really take credit for what they do.
No.
Big Boss didn't accept the name until he finally was able to come to terms with the boss dying and her giving up and stuff like that. He took the mantle. But before that, he was just like, call me Snake, because he didn't deserve it. And so I feel like when he accepted the reward, it was kind of like, man, thank you so much. This was great. I don't think I ever saw myself coming here.
Yeah.
So it was great.
That's awesome,
It was
man.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's humbling to me to see that, just because I'm a creative as well, and to see him striving like that for 30 years making this game. He was just a kid, and now in his 50s, still making video games and still reaching for that top. Like, he's still saying, I want to go in and I want to make the best game that I can. No limits, just here you go. And he's still striving to do that. That's astonishing to me. I hope to see. I'm extremely excited for his new game. That is beyond belief. But I'm also excited with the things that are happening with Metal Gear, outside of the world. Like, what is it gonna look like outside of Kojima? I know a lot of people have said it's probably gonna fail, everything. But I'm curious as to how is it gonna look, because remember, Metal Gear wasn't just made with Mr. Kojima. It was made by a lot of other people that helped him make it. Of course, he had the vision and he pushed it, but it's good to see him talk about this and really blatantly say, like, hey, these misconceptions, everything, this is what's going on. It gives us a little hint of what's been going on between Konami versus Kojima. I'm definitely excited. So what else are we looking at here?
Well, I think you guys will be excited to know that we've got some information on Quiet as a playable character on MGO. Do you remember how we speculated?
Yeah.
That we said that
last week.
Yeah, we said what type of move she might have, the slowing down in first person view, things like that. So we actually have the list, as I had mentioned.
Nice. So this comes from their developer notes, right? Their new designer developer notes.
Yes. Courtesy of Metal Gear Informer. So Quiet. First off, we were right on a lot of things.
Okay.
That we speculated. Quiet, when she's sprinting, she will be invisible, and then she'll be able to sprint very quickly, kind of like in the game.
Right. Yeah.
She has amazing. According to the when I read the developer notes, she has amazing aim. Like very.
So it's not like swaying circle.
They say very to none.
Wow.
Very little to no sway at all.
Wow. Okay.
And the best news is she's able to climb like any surface without a ladder. So she'll just like
go up,
transport up there.
Wow.
So she
is pretty much
she's OP.
A beast. Yeah.
That's like
that's
can you
OP.
imagine, especially with the laser? Like, you know how you see the laser? in the game?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine you hear like
That's
she's aiming at like so she's gonna be literally
destructive force,
a dead shot. Like,
yeah,
So we're gonna put a poll up this week, and we're gonna ask you guys, are you a scout? And if you are you that excited that Quiet is going to be part of it? So please give us your vote. We've been putting up polls, and we want to hear from you. And then we'll say it on the show what we're thinking. Or rather, what you're thinking. And then in other news, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is the best-selling PS4 game in Japan, over 42,500 copies. Or is that... No, 42 million.
425,000 100,000 copies.
Yes.
That's a lot of copies.
That is still a lot of copies, so much that I couldn't say the number.
So much.
I'm just doing, before anyone gets on me.
Oh, of course, you have to.
I'm just going to make fun of myself.
You have to do that.
Because if I don't do it,
then the comment section is
just going to be like, but
go back to elementary school and this
stupid.
or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I make mistakes. So yeah, it sold that many copies.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Especially when, I mean, half of those are probably Metal Gear fans, of course, because they live over there. But I think most of the fans are in the United States, in my opinion. But man, that's so good. I know Kojima sees that and he's just like, I'm making none of that.
I am getting none of that.
None of that.
425,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot and that's just Japan, though.
Yeah, that's just exactly.
That is just Japan.
Just Japan. Yeah. Yep.
But it's saying it's the best selling PS4 game.
Yeah.
And look, it's for PlayStation. PlayStation is big in Japan.
Yeah, I want to see if Uncharted can top that. You know, or like certain exclusives.
It's still not out, but yeah.
I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
when it does, let's match it up.
Right.
You know, we do like Uncharted, but 425,000.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But
I digress. We are so glad to hear that. And that is all the news we have for today. It might not seem like a lot, but it was big news.
Yeah, for sure. We got to hear a little bit about what Kojima has said, a few things that, like the misconceptions part and stuff. But I'm glad to hear that he's excited to continue on this venture. Yeah, with that being said, Tips with Arnaldo.